Who sold Black Americans into slavery and why? I dedicate this video to all Black Americans who have had controversial statements on this topic. Many believe that Africans sold them into slavery and gave up on them willingly. But what's the fact? What's the truth? What's hidden in this history? Let's dive into the video and find out who sold Black Americans into slavery. The year was 1760. Smoke rose from chimneys in Europe. Machines roared. Trains rushed across the land. The world was changing. The Industrial Revolution had begun. It brought progress, it brought power, but it also brought one of the darkest chapters in human history. Africa, rich in land, minerals and people, was about to be pulled into a storm that would tear her children from her soil and sell them into bondage. As Europe transformed, demand grew. They needed more coal, more cotton, more metal, more sugar, more rubber, and more gold. Factories needed to run 24 hours a day. Ships needed to cross oceans, but there was one thing Europe lacked: cheap labor. The colonizers needed workers, millions of them, and they found their answer not in their homelands, but in Africa. When the Europeans arrived in African shores, they didn't come with chains at first. No, they came with gifts like mirrors, ram, clothes, guns, and gold. They met African kings and presented themselves as friends, diplomats, traders, and guests. And many African leaders, seeing an opportunity for trade and partnership, welcomed them warmly. They had no idea what was coming next. You see, African societies had their own systems of justice and warfare. Tribes fought, and prisoners were sometimes enslaved locally or held in servitude. So when the colonizers asked for laborers, many African kings thought, we can give them the prisoners we already have. They exchanged people captured in tribal wars for weapons and goods. At first it seemed like an agreement, a trade and a business deal, but the colonizers wanted more of that. Europe was now addicted to African labor. Plantations in the Americas were growing. Sugar, tobacco, and cotton became gold. The demand exploded, and soon prisoners of war were not enough. The colonizers said, give us more people, more workers, more bodies. Some African kings said, no, we will not sell our people. But by then, it was too late. The colonizers had brought guns, armies, and cannons. They were no longer asking, they were taking. The friendship turned into betrayal. Villages were burned. Women were raped. Men were chained. Children were stolen from their mothers. This was no longer trade, it was terror. Africa was bleeding, not just for her land but her soul. Millions were taken against their will, shipped like cargo across the Atlantic. Many never made it. They died at the sea, tossed overboard like waste. The ones who survived faced a life of torture, humiliation, and slavery in America. Entire villages disappeared. Families were destroyed and knowledge was lost. Africa lost more than just people. She lost generations of builders, thinkers, warriors, and leaders. What was once a land of kingdoms, libraries, gold, and glory was now broken, colonized, and stripped. And all this began with a handshake, with a gift, with a lie. Today we are waking up. We are telling our stories, not just ones written by the colonizers, but the truth. The story of how Africa was tricked, betrayed, and enslaved, and how we are now standing again, stronger, wiser, and ready to reclaim our greatness. We cannot change the past, but we can learn from it. To every African child, to every descendant of the enslaved, to every corner of the world that still feels the scars, you were never born to be a slave. You are the child of kings, warriors, queens, and visionaries. Let the truth set you free.